A hand hovers over a phone. The screen glows with a name not called in months. The thumb twitches, but doesn't press. This is not progress. It's a loop. A silent ritual. Replaying a wound that never speaks. Each pause, each hesitation carves deeper into a system already strained. The mind knows the cost, yet returns. Why? What holds? When release would cut the thread. Is it strength to cling to a shadow that offers no answer? The familiar pull. It's not choice. It's reaction, dressed as control. A system stuck, running the same error, expecting a different end. Each return to that name, each glance at a message never sent. It's not just time. It's ground lost. The quiet theft of clarity, replaced by a haze of regret. The mind erodes, not in loud crashes, but in these small, unseen repetitions. The damage is invisible, but it compounds. A fracture ignored becomes a break. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. A storm rages, but the center can hold still. The chaos outside, it begs for attention. The chaos within, it begs for detachment. To see the loop is to begin its end. What remains when the hand pulls back? Is it freedom, or just another pause before the next reaction? The mirror waits, showing not a face, but a pattern. The choice to look, that's where the system shifts. A loop runs until silence cuts it. Why check when the answer never shifts? What pulls when stillness could hold? Is it hope or just reaction in disguise? A screen lights up, the same name, the same pause. Why return to a door that never opens? What grows in the space of one breath not taken? Does explaining ever silence the void? A finger hesitates. Is it choice or another loop? Silence sees what reaction hides. Habit 1. Master control. A mind scatters, chasing threads it cannot tie. A message left unanswered. A glance at a profile long silent. These are not choices. They are reactions, pulling the system off its axis. The hand moves, not because it must, but because it's trained to. Each swipe, each scroll, a surrender to a force outside. The illusion feels like action, but it's a loop. The system runs, unaware it's draining itself. What lies beyond control is not worth the cost. The Stoics saw it clearly. Epictetus carved the line. Some things are in our control, and others are not. The mind that chases what it cannot hold loses what it can. Every moment spent on another silence is a moment stolen from clarity. The external world shifts, unpredictable, untamed, yet the internal world, it answers only to the one who commands it. The cost of chasing is not just time, it's ground. Each step toward what cannot be changed deepens the fracture. The system erodes not in loud failures, but in these quiet surrenders. A mind that seeks answers in another's absence builds a cage of its own making. The bars are invisible, but they tighten. Regret grows, not from what was lost, but from what was given away. To override, begin small. Each morning, name one action within reach. Not their words, not their choices. Yours. A single breath held before responding to a trigger. A single truth written and left unshared. These are not gestures. They are anchors. They pull the system back to a center that holds. Control is not about forcing outcomes. It's about refusing to be moved by what lies beyond your reach. The loop tempts, it always will. But the system can learn. Each refusal to chase builds a new reflex. The hand pauses, the screen dims, the mind turns inward and finds its own weight. This is not victory. It's discipline. The first step is to see what you can hold and what you must release. You don't owe anything. The system resets, but only if the first cut is clean. Habit 2. Pause before reaction. A spark ignites. A word, a look, a silence. The chest tightens. The urge to speak surges. Why now? Why this? The mind races, seeking a response to drown the sting. This is not thought, it's reaction, a reflex that feels like truth. The voice inside whispers, explain, defend, reclaim. But what does it win? Another cycle, another spiral. The system answers before it sees. Why rush when the answer only binds? The Stoics knew the power of the pause. Seneca said, "To be silent is not to be weak. A breath held is a wall against the flood." The urge to react, it's a signal, not a command. To pause is to see the signal for what it is, a flicker, not a fire. The system can wait, and in waiting, it learns. Each unguarded word, each hasty reply, it chips away, not at them, but at you. The cost is not the moment. It's the ground lost, the clarity buried under impulse. A mind that answers too soon builds its own chaos. The weight of reaction, it grows heavier with each surrender. Anxiety takes root not from what was said, but from what was not controlled. To override with a single act, 3 breaths before any word escapes. Not to calm, but to observe. Feel the pulse. See the urge. Let it pass. This is not suppression. It's awareness. The system learns to hold its own line. A pause is not empty. It's a space where control is forged. The voice inside quiets, and the truth speaks. The trigger will come. It always does. But the system can shift. Each pause builds a new edge. The breath slows. The mind clears. What felt urgent fades. This is not escape. It's presence. The choice to wait is the choice to remain. Stillness is enough. The edge sharpens when the system chooses its moment. Habit 3. Release holding on. A memory clings, like a weight tied to the chest. A moment replayed, a conversation never finished. The mind grips it, as if holding tighter will change the end. This is not love. It's a chain, forged from pain, that no longer speaks. The system locks, unwilling to let the shadow fade. Each revisit, a step deeper into the void. The Stoics saw through the illusion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change." A chain is not a treasure, it's a burden. To hold on is to choose the weight. The past offers no answers, only echoes. The system that clings builds its own cage. Release is not surrender, it's the key left behind. Each grip costs more than time. The mind that lingers trades clarity for emptiness. The heart that refuses to let go grows heavier with regret, not for what was lost, but for what it keeps alive. The shadow grows, not because it's real, but because it's fed. The system fractures under a load it chose to carry. To break the chain, act once. One day, not checking. No glance at the old message. No scroll through a silent profile. This is not weakness. It's detachment. The system learns to move without the weight. A single step away from the echo. The void feels vast, but it's where presence begins. The pull remains. It always will, but the system can shift. Each refusal to grip cuts a link. The memory fades, not because it's gone, but because it's no longer held. This is not forgetting. It's freedom. The choice to release is the choice to stand. Let go isn't weakness. A river carries debris. Let go clears the flow. The system lightens when the chain no longer binds. Habit 4. Break overthinking. A thought spirals, circling the same wound. What was said, what wasn't, what could have been, what never will. The mind runs, chasing a truth it cannot find. This is not clarity. It's a loop, a machine grinding itself down. Each cycle, deeper into the haze. The system traps itself, believing the answer lies in more thought. The Stoics cut through the noise. Seneca warned, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The mind is a closed circuit, feeding its own storm. To overthink is to build a prison from shadows. The system that chases meaning in endless loops finds only numbness. Breaking the cycle begins with seeing it. Each turn of the spiral steals more than focus. The mind that replays loses ground to regret. Not for the past, but for the present. It ignores. The weight of overthinking, it grows. Not from truth, but from refusal to stop. The system falters. Caught in a maze it drew itself. Anxiety thrives where thought refuses to rest. To override, act simply. Write one thought, then discard it. Not to keep, not to solve. To release. The paper burns, the mind clears. This is not avoidance, it's awareness. The system learns to halt the cycle. One pause, one breath, one truth let go. The spiral slows when the fuel is cut. The loop beckons. It always will, but the system can shift. Each refusal to chase builds a new path. The mind stills, not because it knows, but because it stops. This is not escape. It's control. The choice to break is the choice to see. The void is where it clears. The haze lifts when the system stops running. Habit 5. Command silence. A voice rises, urging explanation. A slight, a silence, a misunderstood glance. The instinct kicks to clarify, to justify, to be seen. Words spill, chasing a truth no one seeks. This is not strength. It's a trap, a reflex that begs for validation. The system speaks before it measures the cost. Each word given is a piece of ground lost. The Stoics knew the weight of silence. Seneca said, "Nothing is so costly as that which is bought by pleading. To explain is to hand over control." The mind that seeks to be understood binds itself to another's judgment. Silence is not retreat. It's a shield. The system that holds its voice holds its power. Each plea, each defense, it erodes. Not their view, but your center. The urge to speak, it builds a cage of need. The system that chases approval trades clarity for chows. The cost is not the moment, but the inner weight surrendered. Isolation grows, not from their silence, but from your noise. To override, choose once. In one exchange, say less. Let the urge rise and pass. Not to win, but to observe. The silence feels heavy, but it's not empty. It's awareness. The system learns to stand without words. A single pause, a single breath, the line holds. Control returns when the voice stays still. The urge will call, it always does. But the system can shift. Each refusal to explain builds a new reflex. The silence deepens, not because it's forced, but because it's chosen. This is not hiding, it's presence. The choice to stay quiet is the choice to remain whole. Silence isn't surrender. The line holds when the system learns its own weight. Habit 6. See rejection. A door closes. No explanation follows. A message sent, left unanswered. The mind assumes it must be earned. The fault is mine. The flaw is me. This is not truth. It's a trap, a reflex that bends the system inward. To deny rejection's weight is to let it carve deeper. The system twists, seeking a reason where none exists. The Stoics saw the illusion clearly. Epictetus said, "You are not disturbed by things, but by the view you take of them. Rejection is not a verdict. It's an event. To search for its meaning is to chase a shadow. The system that questions its worth builds its own wound. To SEE is to step outside the trap. Each question asked, each why replayed. It cuts, not their silence, but your response. The mind that seeks closure trades clarity for invisible scars. The weight of rejection, it grows, not from their absence, but from your pursuit. The system falters, caught in a loop it cannot solve. Anxiety festers, where observation could free. To override, act once. Face the silence and observe. No response, no explanation sought. This is not avoidance, it's awareness. The system learns to stand without answers. One breath, one pause. The trap dissolves. The event passes. When the mind refuses to chase, clarity returns. When the question stops, the sting remains. It always will. But the system can shift. Each refusal to pursue builds a new reflex. The silence clears, not because it speaks, but because it's seen. This is not defeat. It's control. The choice to see is the choice to remain unbent. Pain doesn't mean truth. A man stares at a silent phone. Rejection grows. He turns it off. Clarity begins. The system steadies when the trap is left behind. Habit 7. Unhook attachment. A hope lingers, tied to a single outcome. A reply, a gesture, a change that never comes. The mind clings as if the future depends on it. This is not faith. It's a K-knot, binding the system to what it cannot hold. Each expectation, a thread that tightens. The system waits, believing attachment is strength. The Stoics saw the cost of clinging. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." To attach is to surrender control. The system that pins its peace to another's choice loses its center. Detachment is not coldness, it's freedom. Each thread held pulls harder. The mind that waits for closure trades stillness for anxiety. The heart that demands a response builds its own showers. The cost is not the outcome, but the ground lost in waiting. The system frays, not from their absence, but from its own grip. Emptiness grows where release could clear. to override. Choose one act. Walk away once today. Not from them, but from the need. Leave the message unsent, the hope unspoken. This is not retreat, it's awareness. The system learns to move without the knot. One step, one breath, the thread snaps. The future opens when the present is enough. The pull persists. It always will. But the system can shift. Each refusal to wait builds a new reflex. The mind steadies, not because it wins, but because it's free. This is not loss. It's presence. The choice to unhook is the choice to stand unbound. Detachment is a form of respect. The knot loosens when the system lets the thread fall. Habitate. End escape. A screen flickers, hours vanish. A task waits, but the mind drifts. Music hums, drowning a thought too heavy to face. This is not rest. It's escape, a reflex that buries the system under distraction. Each click, each scroll, a step away from truth. The system flees, believing avoidance spares it pain. Why run when the shadow follows? The Stoics faced the void directly. Epictetus said, "You cannot escape yourself. To escape is to delay the inevitable." The system that hides only deepens its isolation. Presence is not weakness. It's the only path through. The mind that turns away builds a wall it cannot climb. Each distraction costs more than time. The mind that flees trades clarity for numbness. The heart that drowns in noise grows heavier with regret, not for what it avoids, but for what it loses. The system fragments, not from the pain, but from the refusal to see. Anxiety festers where awareness could ground. To override, sit still. 5 minutes, no screen, no sound. Sitting with it, not to solve, but to observe. The urge to flee rises. Let it pass. This is not punishment. It's stillness. The system learns to hold its own weight. One breath, one moment, the shadow shrinks. The truth emerges when the noise stops. The urge to run, it always calls, but the system can shift. Each refusal to flee builds a new reflex. The mind steadies, not because it escapes, but because it stays. This is not endurance. It's control. The choice to face is the choice to end the flight. You can end without drama. Why run? Stillness sees what escape cannot. The system grounds when the flight finally stops. Habit 9. Refuse hope blindly. A wish persists for a door to reopen, a message unsent, but drafted in the mind. The heart waits for a sign that never comes. This is not hope. It's a trap, a reflex that chains the system to illusion. To hope blindly is to chase a shadow cast by pain. The system lingers, believing closure lies ahead. The Stoics saw the danger of fantasy. Seneca wrote, "Cease to hope, and you will cease to fear." To hope without reason is to surrender ground. The system that clings to what might be loses what is. The truth is not in waiting, it's in seeing. To refuse blind hope is to reclaim control. Each wish held builds a heavier load. The mind that dreams of answers trades clarity for regret. The heart that waits for change feeds its own anxiety. The cost is not the silence, but the time spent chasing it. The system frays, not from loss, but from its own delusion. Emptiness grows where observation could free. To override, act once. Tonight, not texting. No draft, no rehearsal, no waiting. This is not defeat, it's awareness. The system learns to stand without illusion. One pause, one breath. The shadow fades. The truth settles when the wish dissolves. Presence returns when the chase ends. The longing calls, it always will, but the system can shift. Each refusal to wait builds a new reflex. The mind clears, not because it finds, but because it stops seeking. This is not surrender, it's stillness. The choice to refuse is the choice to be whole. Not doing is power too. The illusion fades when the system sees its own truth. Habit 10. Ground in stillness. A void looms. The urge to fill it rises. A silence falls. The mind scrambles to break it. The unknown beckons, and the system flinches. This is not weakness. It's a loop, a reflex that fears the quiet. To avoid the void is to chase a noise that never satisfies. The system runs, believing motion masks the fear. The Stoics embrace the empty space. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." The void is not a threat, it's a center. To flee it is to lose ground. The system that seeks distraction buries its own clarity. Stillness is not absence, it's the root of presence. Each escape deepens the fracture. The mind that fills the silence trades peace for chaos. The heart that dreads the quiet feeds its own anxiety. The cost is not the moment, but the truth it obscures. The system falters, not from the void, but from its refusal to stay. Numbness grows where awareness could anchor. To override, choose one act, breathing through for one moment. No sound, no motion, just the breath. This is not retreat. It's witness. The system learns to rest in the quiet. One inhale, one exhale. The void becomes ground. The silence holds when the mind does not run. The fear persists. It always will. But the system can shift. Each embrace of stillness builds a new reflex. The mind steadies, not because it fills, but because it sees. This is not hiding. It's control. The choice to stay is the choice to be enough. Stillness is enough. The quiet holds. When the system finds its own center, the center holds, but only if the system trusts its weight. A breath carries more than air. It carries the choice to stay. The quiet is not a void to fear, but a space to build. Each moment of stillness rewires the system, not to forget, but to see. The habits that follow, they are not rules, they are cuts, each one slicing through a reflex that binds. The system learns, not by force, but by repetition. A single pause, a single refusal, it compounds. The mind that once chased shadows now observes them. The heart that once clung now releases. This is not healing, it's override. The path forward begins where reaction ends. A shadow moves, detachment lets it pass. The system grows when it learns to stand alone. The path sharpens when the system cuts its own chains. Each habit, a single cut into the chaos, not to mend, but to clear. The mind that once spiraled now pauses. The heart that once chased now waits. This is not triumph. It's discipline, a cold rewiring of what pulls. The system does not seek comfort. It seeks clarity. A choice made once compounds. A breath held, a message unsent, a silence kept. These are not acts of will, but acts of seeing. The Stoics built their strength not on force, but on refusal. Refusal to be moved by what lies beyond reach. Refusal to be bound by what no longer serves. The system that learns this finds its own ground. Why cling? Release cuts cleaner. The edge forms when the system chooses its own frame. The frame strengthens when the system holds its line. A single choice compounds into a system. The pause that stops a reaction, the silence that ends a plea, the step that releases a shadow. These are not moments, they are foundations. The system that sees its own pull no longer bends to it. The void is not a threat, it's a canvas for clarity. The Stoics lived this truth. Strength is not in force, but in detachment. A mind that witnesses its own pull gains its own weight. The system does not need to fill the void, it needs to stand within it. Each refusal to chase, each breath held, it's not escape, it's presence, the root of all control. A man sits alone, no screen, no sound. Isolation fades, presence begins. The system holds when it trusts its own quiet. The quiet deepens when the system claims its space. A reflex shifts, not by force, but by choice. The pause that halts a spiral. The silence that cuts a plea. The breath that grounds a fear. These are not acts of chance. They are acts of command. The system that sees its own pull no longer bends to it. The void is not a threat. It's a canvas for clarity. The Stoics carved their path through the noise of want. They knew to detach is to stand. To observe is to own. The system that refuses to chase builds its own weight. Not in answers, but in presence. Each moment of stillness is a refusal to be moved by what lies beyond reach. A breath cuts through. Stillness builds what reaction breaks. The system stands when it learns to be enough. The system is enough when it holds its own truth. Each habit, a cold edge against the pull. The system that masters control does not chase shadows. The one that pauses does not break under reaction. The one that releases walks without weight. The one that breaks the loop sees the cage. The one that commands silence keeps its ground. The one that faces rejection stands without answers. The one that unhooks breathes free. The one that ends escape meets the void. The one that refuses blind hope sees what is. The one that grounds in stillness finds its center. The Stoics carved this path, not in words, but in acts. A single choice, repeated, builds, not a shield, but a frame. The system does not need to run, it needs to see. Each moment of detachment is a moment of presence. The quiet is not a gap, it's a ground where clarity takes root. The system endures when it learns to stand still. A phone lies face down. No hum breaks the quiet. The air stills, a breath moves through. Nothing stirs except the pulse of a choice not made. A reaction fades, not chased, not fed. The system holds, not by force, but by presence. The silence carries a weight that anchors, not an answer, but a space. A moment where the pull of pain, of regret, of need loses its grip. The system breathes, not to fill the void, but to see it. The quiet is not empty. It's a ground where clarity rests. What remains when the urge to respond dissolves? Is it loss or a center reclaimed? The mirror waits, not to judge, but to show. Stillness is a choice that holds.